A few weeks after my heart attack, I found myself back at the same hospital for another angiogram. When I had my heart attack, the doctors found that I had another artery that was 90% blocked, but at that time, they decided not to place a second stent because it was a smaller artery and it wasn't the main culprit of the heart attack. They wanted to see how my LAD artery, the one that had just been treated, would recover before making any further decision. My appointment was at 8:30 in the morning. I wasn't allowed to eat, so my last meal was around 8 o'clock the night before. After checking in, I found out I was fourth in line, so I thought the wait wouldn't be too long. But I didn't actually go in until around 12:50. The waiting was probably the hardest part. I was with my family, which definitely helped. We talked, watched the time go by, and tried to keep things as normal as possible. But every now and then, I would start thinking about the procedure. One thing I was wondering was, would they be able to use my right arm again? The other option was going through an area near the groin, and recovery would take longer. So I was really hoping they'd be able to use the same arm as before. Once they brought me into the cath lab, everything felt pretty familiar. They told me that they'd be able to go through the same arm as before, which was great, and started pouring a liquid to freeze my arm. One thing that was different this time around was my blood pressure. Because of the medications I'm on, it was running lower than the last procedure. So the nurses explained that they could only give a small amount of sedation because of this, and they'd monitor my blood pressure if I required more. I was awake throughout the whole procedure. I even remember feeling parts of the wire going through my arm into my chest. It wasn't a painful feeling, but it was a very strange feeling that I think I'll never forget. The procedure itself didn't take too long, and then the cardiologist came over to tell me the result. Instead of telling me I needed another stent, he told me I didn't even need one at all. The artery that had originally been 90% blocked had reduced significantly to 50%. He also said the other areas they were watching had also improved. He explained that generally they only place a stent if an artery is 80% blocked or more, so there was no reason to put a stent at this time. He said the medications, the changes I made to my diet, and giving my heart time to recover all played a major role. He also mentioned that some of what they saw during my heart attack may have been a result of how much stress my heart was under at that time. And hearing that was a huge relief. Even though I didn't need another stent, I still had to recover from the procedure itself. They kept pressure on my wrist for quite a while to make sure there wasn't any bleeding. That part was probably more uncomfortable than I ever expected. It was probably because I had two procedures at the same site. My hand swelled up for quite a bit, and I just had to wait it out. Once they removed the pressure cuff, it felt so much better. I was able to go home about 6 hours after the procedure. Part was I felt like I had just pressed the reset button. I had just started feeling so much better and stronger after my first procedure, and now I'm back to taking it easy again. No lifting, no pulling, no pushing, just giving my arm time to recover. Looking back now, I'm just grateful for the outcome. Going into that appointment, I generally thought I'd be leaving with another stent in my heart. Instead, I left with good news. It was encouraging to hear that the meds and the lifestyle changes were making a difference. Recovery still isn't perfect. I still have good days and days where I don't feel quite like myself. But this appointment was a reminder that healing takes time, and sometimes progress is happening even when you can't feel it. Thanks for following along with my recovery. I'll continue sharing what this journey looks like one step at a time.